looked into the prices for the coach, but in the end the train seemed a better bet. Whatever I did, I'd have to change at Birmingham or Coventry. Oh, and the saver return was only £1 more, and it gave a lot more options for the return time, which was good because I really didn't know how long I'd be there. So that was that. It's years since I've been to Nottingham. Laura was emphatic that if I was going on my own. When the letter came, we were both in the no camp. Well, for starters, all the benefits seem to be one way. Well, they are these days, aren't they? The blameless are asked to give just a little bit more of themselves, to be 1 or 2% more gracious, more understanding. It's all couched in psycho-speak, of course. Not that that cut any ice with Laura, I can tell you. But then she's had it tougher right from the beginning. I feel guilty and disloyal for changing my mind and deciding to go. But Laura assuaged all that by making me a flask and some sandwiches, bless her. And she even packed my little rucksack, like I was her little lad off on his first expedition, finally out of those short trousers. Although she didn't say, I know the rules. I go, I come back, and we don't talk about it. Restorative justice, they call it. The letter said this was a pilot project, and we'd been selected because Terry Clark had been a juvenile at the time of the offence, had made excellent progress in prison, and that meeting us would help with his rehabilitation. Oh, and we might get some sort of closure. Here, I'll read you a bit of what it says and you can see what you think. Here we are. Years after a crime, victims may still suffer from post-traumatic stress. Offenders too can struggle. Poor bastards. Oh, sorry. And limited rehabilitation means they often return to a life of crime. To help remedy these wrongs, restorative justice methods advocate face-to-face meetings between victims and offenders. Victims who participate in such discussions with the perpetrator report feeling they can forgive their attacker. Kiss my... Oh, sorry. And offenders say they feel responsibility for their actions. Yeah, sure. A change in trajectory for both parties. So, we were invited to be part of an experiment. And Laura wept. Well, it was only 2 years on, so it took us right back there. Back to the place we used to call home. Oh, the place we'd found for our retirement, where I could have that ride-on mower that I'd always fancied. Oh, and she had a sewing room, and it would be a nice place for the grandkids to visit. Only it was Terry Clark and his brother Ryan that decided to visit, and they didn't wait till we were out. We were watching the 10 o'clock news. November, night's drawing in. Oh, and this is where the if onlys begin. If only I hadn't suggested we stay up to watch that documentary on elephants. If only I hadn't agreed to another cup of tea. So Laura went to the kitchen, and then I heard this sort of half squeak, a yelp. Oh, and I shudder when I remember that I actually chuckled at the thought that she'd just seen a creepy crawly. But she was in the hands of something much, much worse. The invasion had begun. How can two men seem so huge? Well, I say two men, technically a man and a boy aged 17. A boy with just a few misdemeanours to his name, like shoplifting. You know, bound over, caution type of stuff. Only this wasn't burglary, robbery. They came into our house with guns, prepared to do bodily harm. Getting to the prison, I felt nervous and conflicted. Terry Clark will be a grown man now. And was this meeting part of a plan to get early release? Why am I supposed to be the better man? I am the bloody better man. What is it about my childhood that makes me me? What makes him him? Oh, I don't know. All I know is that there's Laura, and she made me sandwiches, and I ate them on the very first train out of Nottingham. And Terry Clark did not get the pleasure of imprisoning me again against my will.